Hello students. In this lecture, I will discuss the introduction to recursion, applications of recursions, working of recursion, string handling functions. Then I will discuss. So first I will discuss what is recursion. A function that calls itself is known as a recursive function, and this technique is known as recursion. In previous lecture, I have explained you about functions where you have to define the various functions and you have to call the functions from the main. But here in this concept, I will discuss how a function is called to itself only. So C supports recursion, that is C language allow a function to call itself. Parameters are important but not necessary here for writing effective recursive functions. The basic idea behind recursion is to decompose a problem into smaller subproblems which are solved by recursively calling the function that was called to solve the original problem. Recursion is an important programming tool because many algorithms are naturally recursive. Recursion is a process by which a function calls itself repeatedly until some specified condition has been satisfied. So, in the syntax, you can see here there is a main functions. Under the main function, there is a function that is I named is recur, and again in the next section it is defined void recur, and recur also called recur function means function called itself only. So the process is used for repetitive computation in which each action is stated in terms of previous result. Many iterative problems can be written in this form. In order to solve a problem recursively, basically there are two conditions must be satisfied. Number one is the problem must be written in a recursive form, and next one is the problem statement must include a stopping condition. For example, suppose I want to calculate the factorial of a positive integer quantity. We would normally express this problem as factorial of suppose factorial of 5 you are going to calculate, then it will be 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1, just like that. So I will discuss further. So now I will discuss about the applications of recursion. The various applications of recursion is to solve problem of Tower of Hanoi. When you will study about the data structure, then you will implement this. And it is also used during pre-order, in-order and post-order traversal. And finally, it uses in the depth first search of graphs when you will study further. Example. In this example, I want to explain you the procedure by which I will calculate the factorial of any number using recursion. So suppose as we have discussed, I'm going to calculate here the factorial of 5. So the procedure is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So it is explained here with the help of variable, taking variable n. Suppose n is equals to 5. So whatever number you will assign to n, it will be the factorial of n equals to n into n minus 1, because 5 into 4 means 5 into n minus 1. Again it will be multiplied by n minus 1 factorial is equals to n minus 1 into n minus 2 factorial. So when you calculate the factorial of any number, you will calculate just like that. Now in the example, I want to show you how it works, how to calculate the factorial, how you write a program. So in this example, the main function of a program simply reads the integer quantity n and then call the long integer recursive function factorial. The function factorial calls itself recursively with an actual arguments n minus 1 that decreases in the magnitude for each successive call. The recursive calls terminates when the value of the actual arguments become equals to 1. So here one step you can see. First, when you call the function, then the value which entered you by keyboard, like you entered 5, so it will pass function factorial. Then it will call again itself, it will call again factorial. So the value here num copied to variable n. If n equals to 1, then it will return 1. Otherwise, return n into factorial n minus 1. So like that. Now in case of n, here it will be 5, then into factorial n minus 1, so 5 minus 1 become 4. So here 5 into 4, that is in the previous slide I show you the formula here, 5 into 4 into 3 into 1, just like that. So with the help of this example, just see the procedure how we can write program. So in this case there is a method which I will explain you in further, but here you can see the same concept I have used here as you study in function. Because if you read the program, you will see here there is no difference, but the main difference in function and recursion, here you can see a factorial function call itself only. So you just write the program and then execute, then you will be clear the concept how it works. So here it will execute until n become ones. So with the help of this example, I think you must have clear the concept how to calculate factorial. You can write some another program, like you can print the Fibonacci series with the help of factorial. So for further study, you have to just write different programs of recursion. Here I want to show you the demonstration of recursion, how it works. So sometimes it become very difficult to understand because of recursion is some tedious process, but the complexity is depend upon the eyes of the observer. So don't bother about, just see the concept here. I have passed the value here 5 in the fact function. Now you see the steps. First step is it will return 5 into fact 4. So fact 4, why fact 4? Because of here it is written n minus 1. You can see in the program here I have written n minus 1. So what does it mean? It will pass here 4. So the factorial 5 means this function will again called. Then the next step it will jump to next step. Here it become 4 into fact n minus 1. So n minus 1 means 4 minus 1. So it become 3. It again call itself. So here you can see it will be 3 into fact 2. Next fact function will call itself. So n become 2 and 2 into 2 minus 1. So it become n. So whenever value become n equals to 1, then it will, so this phase is called winding phase. I show you in the slide just with the help of arrows. So down arrows indicates the winding phase. So this phase is called winding phase. In this case, the value of n become n minus 1, and again it call itself again and again and again until the n equals to 1. So, but whenever n become 1, another phase will start, that is known as unwinding phase. In this case, you can see here in the slide, you also study about the functions. Function returns value to the calling function. So in this case, here you see the last statement, fact n become 1. So 1 into 2, it will return into this, and this value will return to this function, and this statement will return to this, and finally it will return to the factorial function, value to the factorial function. In the previous slide, in this slide, I show you here the procedure. The statement, the last statement written here, return n by n2 factorial n minus 1, it will finally return value to the calling function, this. So the factorial function, so value will assign to val variable, and val will print here. So this is the concept of recursion. So you can see here the procedure, and you have to dry run the program first, and you understand this process, because sometimes it become some difficult. So now I will discuss about the iteration. I will compare the function. I will compare the iteration with the recursion. Okay, now I will compare the iteration and recursion. Any iterative function consists of basically 4 parts, because with the help of recursion, you are just going to create iteration. Okay, now I will compare iteration with recursion. Because of you study iteration, so you can see here in the case of recursion, it also create an iterative statements. So any iterative function consists of 4 parts, that is initialization. The decision parameter is set to an initial value, or more precisely, the loop variable is initialized. Other predefined variables are also initialized, and the decision parameter is used to determine whether further looping is necessary. The loop variable is compared, and based on the outcomes, the loop is executed again. The test performed on the loop variable may not be the only condition. Other relational expressions may also participate in the decision. And in case of computation, in iteration, the necessary computation is predefined within the loop, and the statement updation, that is decision parameter is updated, and a transfer is made to the next iteration. The loop variable is incremented or decremented, as you see in the for loop, just like I plus plus, I minus minus. It may also result in a set of variable being modified. But for a recursive function, the variable in the form of arguments are passed on to the function. The arguments value are used to determine whether further recursive calls are required, and the necessary computation is performed using the local variable and the parameters at the current depth. And in case of updation, the update is done so that the variable can be used for further recursive call. Recursion exists because of the recursive nature of the process. It is very important thing here, or because of the recursive structure of the data to be processed. For some cases, a recursive solution may be simpler than iteration. For recursion, additional amount of work must be done in the form of saving return addresses so that the correct statement is executed. Next, when the return is executed, the function should also save formal parameters and local variables onto the stack upon entry and restore these parameters and variables on completion. But if the problem is itself is recursive in nature and iterative solutions will have to simulate a stack, in such cases recursion may turn out to be more efficient concept. Okay, now I will compare the iteration and recursion. Any iterative function consists of basically four parts, because with the help of a recursion you are just going to create iteration. Okay, now I will compare iteration with recursion. Because of you study iteration, so you can see here in the case of recursion, it also create an iterative statements. So any iterative function consists of four parts, that is initialization. The decision parameter is set to an initial value, or more precisely, the loop variable is initialized. Other predefined variables are also initialized. And the decision parameter is used to determine whether further looping is necessary. The loop variable is compared, and based on the outcomes, the loop is executed again. The test performed on the loop variable may not be the only condition. Other relational expressions may also participate in the decision. And in case of computation, in iteration, the necessary computation is predefined within the loop. And the statement updation, that is decision parameter is updated and a transfer is made to the next iteration. The loop variable is incremented or decremented as you see in the for loop, just like I plus plus, I minus minus. It may also result in a set of variable being modified. But for a recursive function, the variable in the form of arguments are passed on to the function. The arguments value are used to determine whether further recursive calls are required, and the necessary computation is performed using the local variable and the parameters at the current depth. And in case of updation, the update is done so that the variable can be used for further recursive call. Recursion exists because of the recursive nature of the process. It is very important thing here, or because of the recursive structure of the data to be processed. For some cases, a recursive solution may be simpler than iteration. For recursion, additional amount of work must be done in the form of saving return addresses so that the correct statement is executed. Next, when the return is executed, the function should also save formal parameters and local variables onto the stack upon entry and restore these parameters and variables on completion. But if the problem is itself is recursive in nature and iterative solutions will have to simulate a stack, in such cases recursion may turn out to be more efficient concept. Okay, now I will discuss about string handling functions. Actually, a library is a collection of programs or functions which can be used by other programs C-line. Like other high-level languages, C provides function libraries containing built-in functions. These standard functions are extremely useful to the programmers in the sense that if some of the available functions are called in the program, then they are combined with the program code by the linker at the time of linking. There are some advantages also of these standard libraries, just like Number one is reusability of code. The program development activity requires three major activities, basically coding, testing, and debugging. If a function developed previously by self or somebody else is available as a standard library functions, then the effort of redevelopment can be avoided. Next advantage is faster development. Since many useful functions are available to the programmer, the program development process becomes faster and the productivity increases. And easier software maintenance. Since a function available in the library is shared by other users, the changes or modifications in the function can be done at library level. So the software maintenance become so easier. Basically, there are two types of library provided by C: standard libraries and user libraries. So here I will discuss some standard libraries functions. The declaration of variables in various library functions are maintained by C in the form of the header files. The declarations of various library functions are maintained by C in the form of the header files. In simple words, we can say that each function's library has a corresponding header file with extension .h. For example, stdio.h, conio.h you studied earlier. C supports a rich library of standard functions. The access to the function is allowed by including its corresponding header files at the beginning of the program. We have already used functions such as getChar, putChar, char, gets and puts, etc. Now I will discuss some standard library functions. So you can see in the slide, first function is strcpy. This is string handling function. This function copies one string to another. The function prototype of this function is contained in string.h header files. The general form of the function you can see it is written strcpy string1 string2. So the syntax is destination comma source is passed to the strcpy function. This function copies the source string to destination string. The copying action stops after a null character as \0 has been moved from source to destination. Because of in case of string, it automatically append null character. So you can see in the example here, I want to just copy one string to another string. So here I have included stdio.h by normally, and another file which is included, that is string.h. Because the prototype of strcpy function is comes under string.h. So first string I have assigned here C programming, that is assigned to string 1 str1 variable. The size of str1 variable is 20, and next string str2 size also is 20. So in this case you can see here strcpy function is copied. str1 is here source, because in the str1 function, str1 variable contains the text C programming, and as you can see in the syntax, source copies to destination, so the contents written in the string str1 is copied to str2. So I will use puts function to display the contents of str2. So you can see when you execute the program, it will result as C programming. So here you can see this is inbuilt function, standard library function, that is strcpy. It is used to copy one string to another string. Here I have taken two strings and you can see how it works. Now I will discuss about strcat function. The strcat function appends a source string to the end of destination string. Syntax is strcat. First you have to write destination, then you have to write source. So the prototype of this function is also contained in the header file string.h. It appends a source string to the end of destination string so that the length of the resultant string is equal to the total of both the strings. Example you can see here. I have taken string 1. In string 1 I assigned this is, and in str2 I have assigned to BBD University. So as you can see here, the statement strcat str1 comma str2, that is when you execute this program, then it will display the resultant string, that is this is BBD University. It will concatenate the both the strings. This is BBD University. So when we use strcat, the size of the destination string should be large enough to store the resultant string. If not, we will get the segmentation fault error, because if the size of the string is less, then it will unable to copy or it will unable to concatenate both the strings. So this point you have to always keep in mind. The size of the destination string should be large. So here the destination string is str1, so the size of str1 become large, otherwise it will display error. The next function is strlen. strlen function is used to measure the length of an string. It returns the length of a string. This is also a string.h related function, because the prototype of this function is also comes under string.h. The argument to this function is a string. It calculates the length of that string, that is return the numbers of characters in the string except the null characters, that is \0. So you can see in the example here I have included string.h header files, and I have taken and just like in character A20 initialize BBDU, and suppose whatever you write here in place of BBDU, suppose you want to calculate the length, you want to know the length of the particular string, so you can use this function. So in the example you can see here I have printed here the length of string A. It is written in the message. The length of string A is %u, that is format specifier /n to change line strlen, and I have passed here character A here, that is which contains the BBDU. So the result will be length of string A is equals to 4, because the string length returns the length of any string. So suppose you want to know the length of a string, then it will return the length. And next string handling function is strcmp. strcmp means compare the two strings. It is used to compare the two strings and returns 0 if both the strings are identical. Suppose you are going to compare two strings that are same, that is BBDU with BBDU, then it will return 0 because both the strings are identical and same. This is also a string.h function. uh, it compares two strings, string 1 and string 2. The comparison begins with the first character of each string and continues with subsequent characters until the end of the string is reached, or the corresponding characters differ. strcmp returns a value less than 0 if string 1 is less than string 2, otherwise 0 if string 1 is equals to string 2. It returns value more than 0 if string 1 is greater than string 2. So these 3 points you always keep in mind. Because of result you will analyze with the help of these statements. You can see in the example here there are two strings I have taken here, that is in string 1 A B C D and string 2 is A B and capital C D. I have changed here. So in this case next string is 3, that is also A B C D. Int result 1 result 2. I have taken two variables to store the result. Suppose you just write printf strcmp str1 str2. So you can see here str1 and str2 both are different because the character is ASCII code. When you calculate it will be now see how it will compare. It will start from A is equals to A, B is equals to B. Now C is not equals to capital C, a small c is not equals to capital C. So it will return the difference between both. As you know, the ASCII code of small c and ASCII code of capital C. When you subtract from small c ASCII code to capital C, then you will find that it will be 32. So it will return 32. So you can see in the output here strcmp str1 comma str2 is equals to 30. But in case of suppose you want to compare string 1 and string 3, in this case what happened here, str1 and str3 both are same thing. So what it will result, what will be the result? Result will be 0 because of both strings are identical. So like that the strcmp function works, and you must write this program in C editor and properly compile it, execute it, then you will be clear the concept of these type of functions. So like this various functions of standard libraries available. So in the slide you can see here just like first function is alpha num. It check the character alphanumeric. Means this function has a prototype in C type.h. When you write program, you have to include C type.h header files. The argument to the function is alnum is a character represented as an int. It performs a test. Is the character alphanumeric? An alphanumeric character is a letter, either case or a digit. So you just write down the program by including header files C type.h and then identify the output. Next function is digit. This function has a prototype, also it has prototype C type.h. The argument to this function is also a character represented as int. It performs the test. Is the character is digit? The function is digit returns a non-zero value if the character is digit and 0 otherwise. So you also write the same program, then you will be clear the concept. Next function is alpha. Is alpha. The function is exactly similar to the function is digit. it is exactly similar to isDigit, in the sense that it performs the test is the character alphanumeric. It returns a non-zero value if the character is a letter of either case and zero otherwise. So you also write this program. I'm just giving you the overview of these functions. Suppose next function is lower. So what function perform this? What activities performed by this function? It checks is the character lowercase character. This function also similar to the function given is alpha isDigit. It performs the test is the character a lowercase letter. It returns a non-zero value for test being true and zero for false. So you must write the programs of these all functions. Last function here I have written is upper. This action the action of this function is exactly same as is lower, except that it performs the test is the character and uppercase letter. So you also write the program, because when you write the program, then you will definitely clear the concept of these functions. So like that various other functions also available, you can see in the book, that is beyond your syllabus. So that's why I am not going to discuss. Just like two lower, two upper, and there are some mathematical functions just like power function, a square root function, and the prototype of these type of functions is math.h. You have to include the header files, that is math.h. So log function, mod function, sine, cos, there are various kind of standard library functions. You can see if you want to know about these functions. So in this lecture I have discussed a lot about the various standard library function, just like strcmp just to compare two strings, strcpy just to copy one string to another string, strcat that is just to concatenate the two strings, and how to find the length of a string. I have discussed the function strlen, that is len, str length, and further I have discussed the various function you can see in the slide is alnum, is digit, is alpha, is lower, is upper. So you must write the program and execute the program, then you will clear. And I have also discussed previously the concept of recursion. When the function call itself, it is called recursion, and I have given one example of recursion, that is to calculate the factorial of any number. So you must go through the all contents, and you read the contents from book also, and write the program in C editor, execute it. When you execute, then you will clear how it works. And also write the various programs of recursion, just like just to print Fibonacci series with the help of recursion, just to add write a program to add first n natural numbers using recursion. So like this you must write various programs so that you can able to understand properly some concept of recursion and these string handling functions. Thank you.